country, or is it one side of the country fighting the government?
One side of the country fighting the government. Actually, I heard.
So have we tried to pay attention to the other side of the country that is quiet? Are they also comfortable with this government?
That's what I said earlier. So
because there we go.
Okay. What's up, family? Welcome to Africa is Home Global. My name is Jean-Paul. Tonight, we're going to talk to you guys about the state of the continent. The situation has escalated in Ethiopia. The rebels are threatening to capture the capital city of Addis Ababa. Prime Minister Abiy called the state of the emergency. Thousands of people gathered in Addis Ababa to protest and to support the government. Here with me to discuss this issue is Peter and the co-founder of Africa's Home Global, Platini. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. So when you look at the situation in Ethiopia, Platini, what is your take on that?
Well, thank you so much, Mr. JP, and thanks everyone for always tuning in. Well, honestly, I feel like it's a domestic problem. Like I relate that directly to tribalism. Because if you look at exactly how the things are going in Ethiopia, it's one group of people, like certain ethnic group of people fighting against another one for power. So it's basically like a domestic problem there, and we should really try to live together. That's all I would say to Ethiopia, is we should really try to live together and not let this situation get to a point where foreign policies are going to step in. Right. Because that would not be good for the country. Right. And all of us have seen that happen a lot of times. For example, that has happened in Libya, and it has happened in Afghanistan, in Syria. Right. There are a lot of countries to show that with these examples and so on. So Ethiopia should probably try as much as possible to keep this as a house thing. Don't let it escalate to that point where foreign power, the West, is going to step in. It's not going to be good for them.
Right. Peter, what is your take on the situation in Ethiopia right now?
Yeah, JB, thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really a pleasure for me sitting here by you guys. Africa is home, and everything you're doing. We're talking here about Ethiopia, and the situation there has been really escalating. Like it's been a war for, I don't want to say a real war in the real sense of the term, but it's like we're talking about an armed conflict here.
Right.
Yeah, which has been surging for like 2 years more than
2 years.
Yeah, more than 2 years. I mean, if you want to pull it back, we're going to pull it back to write the histories. No, Ethiopia, it's one of the few countries that wasn't really colonized.
One of the two, because it's Ethiopia and Liberia.
Yeah, correct. Right, yeah. So Ethiopia kind of grew up being this kind of dynastic country. Yeah. So since the 18th century to the 1970s. So with that, the primary characteristics of those kind of regimes, or those kind of growth of states, is that they had to like conquer tribes in order to expand. We're talking about Haile Selassie and stuff. So you had to like conquer tribes to expand. You have to, I mean, even Eritrea was like part of Ethiopia.
Yeah, it was part of Ethiopia.
Yeah. So building the country from conquered tribes kind of makes it at times very difficult to govern at the end of the day. So that's what happens. Having all these conglomerates, or bringing all these different tribes together and trying to really fit them together into a one country, demands like really good governance. Because once good governance is out of the picture, everyone kind of feels it's time for me. I mean, in those days we're doing our own thing. Yeah, right. We're doing our own thing before this guy colonized us or this guy conquered us. So it's better we go back to where we were and start to do it. So we're talking about a very complex issue here, and when we talk about tribes in Africa, many things come into play. So it's going to be
tribalism. Now, if you look at Ethiopia, the problem with Ethiopia is inclusion. So Tigray and Oromo. So Tigray has been ruling the country over 2 decades. Now Oromo also want to be included in the governance. I think that's what the problem is. Now, the reason why Ethiopia might end like Libya is if they allow the Western power to interfere in their internal affairs.
That's what I was saying.
Right?
That's exactly what I was saying.
So what do you guys think? Do you think the Ethiopian government should work with the West, or do you think Ethiopia should solve their own internal affair?
That would be the biggest mistake ever if the Ethiopian government works with the West. We have seen that happen a lot of times. It never ends good. So personally, I feel like Ethiopia government should try to negotiate with these other tribes because they've termed them terrorists. But like we are saying here, it's more of a tribal issue. So it's like you live in a house and you have a sibling, and then you guys are fighting for position or something.
It's
And then-
family. Sit down.
Yeah, it's family.
Have a conversation here, both sides. What
Absolutely.
do you need? What can we need? Can we do to build a government?
There we go.
It's inclusion.
Don't
right?
treat your brother like he's an outsider and then
Right.
step to another outsider to help out.
Exactly.
They don't come with the best interest. I'm gonna be 100% honest with us here. I don't think anybody is gonna step into Ethiopia and fight to free the people of Ethiopia without having a hidden agenda, except an Ethiopian.
True.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. And I believe it's very complex
Yeah.
in a globalized world now, in a contemporary world, to really talk about not inclusion of external factors, because just the African Union itself, it's kind of an acceptance of the fact that we have to work together, bringing all other. I mean, the former president of Nigeria is actually in
President
Ethiopia.
Obasanjo,
Yeah,
yeah.
Obasanjo. So like an emissary, like from the African Union,
Right.
trying to help in order. So it's going to be difficult. But now I don't think like JP said that we are talking about a Libya situation here. I don't think we are there yet, because
Right, but the way things are going,
The way things are going, we're heading
you
there.
know, you know what they did?
We're on the
They
highway.
turned Libyans against Gaddafi.
That's
And
that's
that's
the thing
exactly what happened, and they fell for that. And look at Libya today.
today.
That's exactly what's happening in Ethiopia. The Oromos and Tigray turned against Prime Minister Ahmed Abiy. And that's what's causing this war. The Oromo are saying, oh, we are not included. The Tigray are saying, oh, we are not included.
Included.
And that's causing the conflict.
yeah, yeah, sure. I mean the escalation. What the escalation is not really at that level. True, we have a lot of communication issues in Ethiopia now, because the internet is not as fluent there as it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, the media is highly censored and stuff like that. So it's kind of really difficult to penetrate and really understand exactly what is happening right there, because even when the Prime Minister Ahmed was saying that the TPLF kind of attacked the military base, it's all kind of, no one really has like all like the pictures or the video of the TPLF guys actually really attacking the military
Actually
base and
attacking
stuff.
them.
So there's a lot of censorship as far as communication, as far as the media is concerned in Ethiopia. So I mean, I still believe it's a situation that can be handled on the ground. If you look at even really prominent bloggers in Ethiopia, they kind of really want to paint this picture of Ethiopia that is still really regular. People still wake up every morning and go to do their chores.
And that's only in Addis Ababa.
Yeah, sure,
In the northern
sure.
part. In the
No,
situation is completely different.
Definitely.
Of course, they won't show that. The
Definitely.
mainstream here will paint a bad image of Ethiopia, saying that people are dying, there's
Yeah.
war. Yes, there is war, but not as bad as they are reporting, right?
Well, honestly, no matter how the situation is on ground, right, I feel like it's about time Africa try to stand on its feet and handle our own problems. That is my take on this, because I would really appreciate if the AU could step in and handle this.
I mean, they're already in.
Yeah.
They're already
But
in.
No, the AU, the headquarters right in Addis Ababa.
Yeah, sure.
Look, who even issued a statement? The president's running Felix Tshisekedi.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
AU
of
president.
Congo.
Yeah, right now the chair is Muhammad Faki. Have you heard a statement about what's going on in Ethiopia?
Nah.
AU
I
has
haven't heard
they
anything.
issued a statement? I checked their website.
They haven't issued anything.
I have not.
Yeah, I mean,
seen-
as of now, we know Obasanjo is like in Ethiopia, which is like the emissary for the African Union, trying to mitigate the whole thing. But one thing we shouldn't miss out is the fact that we have to tackle problems like this from the root, like. Because each time we want to bring like cosmetics solutions to this kind of problems, it becomes really, really, really complicated. It might really maybe reduce the volume now, take it a little bit down, but people whose parents were killed today, they might be like the new rebels tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that's how
so-
it happens.
That's
Yeah,
They-
so-
they
yeah,
come
yes,
up for
they
revenge.
did.
Yeah, it's kind of it kind of builds this circle of never-ending violence. So
And conflict.
yeah, and so I believe it's this situation it has its positive and negative factors. The very first positive factor is the fact that it's actually exposed a problem in Ethiopia. It's like really exposed a problem of governance.
The people are not comfortable.
So in order to solve the problem, you have to go to the roots, right?
Yeah.
So the TPLF are claiming that nobody elected Prime Minister Abiy, which is true. He was there in transition. He was never elected by people.
Then he just stayed in power.
Right. They were supposed to have an election in 2020, but the pandemic.
I believe that's not actually. I mean, that could be one of the reasons, but the TPLF, the main reason is because the prime minister decided to take them out from government. So
but they have been ruling.
Definitely. I mean, there's no way you can rule it. There's no way Ethiopia can actually really function without all the factors. As I said, remember the history of Ethiopia makes it very very complicated to rule from just one. I don't want to say one ethnic group or one particular region.
They have to be.
You need to bring.
Actually,
you gotta spread the power.
Federal state. Yeah,
you gotta spread the power.
Right.
Yeah,
among everybody.
That's the problem we have in Africa. Tribalism. Right?
Tribalism. That's why I always go back to tribalism.
It's actually states. No, I mean, I'm usually not really fast in taking the tribalism route because it could actually still be tribalism.
Yeah.
But I want to begin. Tribalism for me is like the effect of bad governance.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like the cause. That's not what the cause is. Tribalism kind of flows from bad principles being applied and things like that. I mean, already putting out or taking out a group of persons or a particular region from the main organization in the country is a way of kind of relegating them. It's like you're
excluding them.
I
also heard that the TPLF wanted Tigray to be their own country. No, they've been fighting with Eritrea for a long time to claim so they can create their own country, and that's what we don't want in Africa.
No,
we want one Africa for Africans.
If we keep accepting these small tribes to break into countries, man, we're gonna have so many.
Right.
That doesn't help unity.
1,600 ethnic group in Africa. Now, if every ethnic group divide, we end up with more than 1,600 plus countries.
Nah, that's not what we want. We don't want that.
We want the African to unite.
Yeah.
So if Ethiopia allowed that to happen, it will set an example. So it's already happening in Sudan.
Amazonia. I mean that's definitely. But that's usually an approach that I'm usually very, very, very slow in taking because you never actually know how these things end. No one actually knew Eritrea was going to actually eventually cut off and
Sudan too.
Yeah. South Sudan.
Right.
No one kind of.
South.
Yeah. So you can really never tell that it's going to happen that way.
Yeah.
Because it's like something in the future. No one actually knows how those events are going to play. But what we can control now is the present.
Absolutely.
Right. And the present the situation right now is we need an inclusive dialogue, like in Ethiopia.
And
right?
I would really wish Ethiopia keeps their foreign policies out.
I
I want them to keep anything out of Ethiopia out.
In order to solve this problem, in any African country, in my opinion, every party has to be included in the governance or there will be conflicts. Now look, there are more than 1,000 dialects in Ethiopia. How come only Tigrays are the only one complaining? What about the rest? That means they're included. So the government excluded them.
They're very much involved in the government.
So they want to be involved. Yeah. That's one of the solutions.
They feel left out.
Yeah, they need to bring them back in. That's the very first step. They need to bring them back in.
Right.
I mean, they need to do this peace treaty. But the problem is, once you're tagging them already like terrorists, it becomes very difficult. Yeah. Because now the circle will be like, who do we dialogue with? You start getting questions like, who do we dialogue with? We can't dialogue with terrorists.
And
so we need
Mr. Peter. Yes. Sometimes the African governments always waste so much time to actually go to negotiate with these people that are
I
crying.
agree.
So now it's a little bit like too late. They have hurt these people so much that they don't even want to sit down and talk.
Probably President Obasanjo is there right now. It's because they threatened to capture Addis Ababa. Reports are saying they are 40 kilometers away.
That's already like late.
Oh, they're gonna capture. Now I want a dialogue.
Exactly.
They should have started
that a long time ago.
And say, hey, look, let's sit down. What do you want? You know, let's talk, let's have a conversation and see how we can solve this.
Yeah, from the inside, right?
From the get-go.
From the inside.
From within,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of equally one of the reasons why conflicts kind of stale and then escalate and then it becomes really very complex to handle.
Right.
Because little things are always taken for granted.
Right.
They treat these matters like they are not. They are very careless.
Very, very simple. Okay. Oh, there's one thing, right? Okay, let's see what's going on there. What do you guys? What are you lacking?
Exactly.
Oh, we need a voice. Okay. Elect someone to
represent,
right? Or
in the
this
parliament or
tribes.
something.
Oh, we need, because if you look at a typical political group in Africa, it's basically a collection of a certain ethnicity, right?
That's very typical.
Why you see after every election in Africa, there is always fight, right? In Nigeria, you see it in Congo, in Cameroon. Because everywhere. It's basically a collection of a certain ethnicity. So inclusion is very, very important in African governance.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't ignore ethnicity.
Definitely.
We cannot.
I mean, that's how.
They are part of the country. They should have a voice.
Yes.
Yeah,
everything.
That's another. That's a very good point there, because at times we kind of forget, or our rulers kind of forget, that the country is actually the people.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, at times they feel like the country is just like the space, or it's just like the land. No. Like, even if the land were there and there's like no one there,
there's no one. It doesn't make.
That's
a
not the
country.
state.
Right.
Yeah, we need. Yeah, the land is like one of the elements that make a state.
The people are the one that makes the government,
of course,
that makes the country.
Yeah. That's very important. So excluding is already out of the table.
How will you even know their needs if you exclude them?
Yeah, so excluding them is already out of the table. So we're talking here about an inclusive dialogue.
Right.
I mean, that's very political term that has usually been used very often in different debates, especially when we have conflicts in Africa. I mean, for instance, in Cameroon, we've had like a dialogue to end like the armed conflict that is in Cameroon. We've had dialogue, but was it sincere? It wasn't sincere.
Those dialogues came very late too.
No, it wasn't even.
So that's the problem.
The problem is they don't handle these things.
Solve the problem at the beginning.
At the beginning,
before it gets worse. And I'm telling you, the reason why Ethiopian governments want a dialogue with the TPLF now, it's because they are
close to the capital city of Ethiopia. That's why they're feeling the heat.
They're taking them serious now.
Yeah.
Oh, these people are serious.
I mean,
they might actually take the capital.
Yeah, we should still see the good side of it. Now they're acknowledging that these people are serious. They're acknowledging that these people actually really have grievances that they want solved immediately. And now they've created for themselves like their own monsters in their own backyard.
Absolutely.
So they still have the chance. They still have. I mean, the PM there, the Prime Minister, still has a chance to really sit down with these guys and discuss. But
it's a little bit complicated now because these people are already testing power.
No, again,
they are seeing victory.
Again,
they are
close to the capital city, so they are seeing
what the reports are saying is true. 40 kilometers, it's a matter of a day.
Right?
No, but international bodies, like for instance the US, they have actually already taken position. For instance, saying they're not going to like back the TPLF. I mean, no one is going to. It's going to be hard to see because no one wants that kind of situation in their own countries. So now they're already sending warning signs. No, we don't want armed conflict, because at the end of the day,
who is sending the warning signs? The US?
Yeah, I mean international, even the UN, like international body, the one what call it a sort of no more.
Okay, here's the thing: these people saw this from the beginning.
Right.
They saw all of this happen from the beginning. They didn't say anything.
Nothing. They waited.
So they waited for this to get close to the capital city. Then now they are sending warnings. You know what? US, they should stay out.
No, so what I proposing? So what I guys
is not going to work.
So what I guys proposing?
I want this to still stay a domestic thing. I want it to be Ethiopia negotiating with Ethiopia.
No, I mean we have to be clear.
Anybody that should interfere is AU.
AU should be the only person. Anything US, UN, no.
Why do you guys believe the AU is going to be the best option?
Well, because that's the only entity that unifies Africa. Because we don't want outsiders.
That's my point. This whole podcast, no outsiders.
I mean, the AU. We have thousands of conflicts that are running in Africa. I want to take a straight example here. Okay. We're talking of, let's say, the Anglophone crisis in Cameroon.
Yeah. Right.
How many times have we got like the AU come out like?
Well, that's one thing too. We need to call them out.
You see,
AU's not.
okay.
No, you're right.
All right, this is a
AU
very good example.
So what I
When,
believe,
if the Ambazonians in Cameroon, they call them the group is the Ambazonian, right? That is fighting to get their own independence from Cameroon.
Right.
If they succeed to make it close to Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon, everybody now is going to come out and start talking.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem
we
with
have in
Ethiopia,
Africa.
because I believe these people have been complaining
Because
for
they're
years.
close.
Nobody has been saying
So
anything
right
until
now-
they are close to Addis Ababa.
no, we've all accepted that fact.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Okay.
My problem right now is we have a bad situation here.
Yeah.
Now we know we have a bad situation. Which is one thing. Which is good thing
From
to
the beginning,
Which is good
we
to
knew.
acknowledge. No, I mean now at least now it's
Now it's out for the world.
Let's
to
say
see.
now we are taking them serious.
Yeah,
we
now-
knew
yeah.
we didn't take them serious.
Yeah, now
but
we're taking them.
we are taking them
I mean,
serious.
it is a good thing that they are already taking them serious because they still would have given them a deaf ear. I mean, it's already a good thing they're taking them serious, which is good because it kind of gives kind of reassurance even to the Ethiopian people who live in Addis Ababa that I mean we can still figure out a way to. I mean, already, imagine.
Wait, let me ask you a question,
imagine
Mr.
yourself-
Peter.
Yeah.
Did you say they could have chosen to still give them a deaf ear? These people are
No.
40 kilometers away from the capital city.
They could still give them a deaf ear.
No,
Why
they
do you-
cannot. They
What
cannot.
I'm saying,
what I
this
mean-
dialogue will fail.
No, what I mean by
You
deaf
know
ear.
why?
What I mean by
Because-
deaf ear.
These people are seeing power. They're seeing
Right.
success.
They-
They're not gonna want to talk.
What I mean by giving them a deaf ear is the fact that the government doesn't really care about what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, and they might decide to do whatever. I mean, now we get like all this thing about like human rights violations and things like that. It could-
Where were they
It
when
could-
the people?
Where were they when these people were
harassed?
crying from the beginning? That's my question.
You know what? The
That's
gov-
not
let's see.
that's an internal problem.
Tigray itself, it's a region in northern Ethiopia.
Yeah, definitely.
They share a border with Eritrea. That region alone has been fighting with Eritrea for decades. Where was the government? Where was UN? Where was
Gentlemen,
the West?
I have,
Where
a question,
were
I have
they?
a question for you guys. This situation in Ethiopia, is it one side of the country fighting another side of the country, or is it one side of the country fighting the government?
One side of the country fighting the government. Actually, I heard.
So have we
even-
tried to pay attention to the other side of the country that is quiet? Are they also comfortable
And
with this
that's what I
government?
said earlier. So I even
Because if
heard-
they are not comfortable with this government, right, then the problem is the government.
that's what we are
And
saying.
it should be overthrown and taken out.
Inclusion.
No, that's not-
Inclusion.
That's not how it works. I mean, like,
Now listen.
that's not how it
I
works.
even
Like,
heard Oromo join Tigray now to fight the government because they are both anti-government. They don't
Okay,
like
the government, right? They don't like the regime,
Because
right?
there is no inclusion in Ahmed Abiy's governance.
Okay.
It's only a certain concentration of.
Are the other side of Ethiopia comfortable with this government?
Apparently, because they are now joining TPLF, because it's only Oromo and Tigray. That
No,
are
because when I
fighting.
say this, I'm trying to relate it to the situation in Cameroon. I also know the other tribes in Cameroon, like when you talk about the Beti, the Kwa, the people from northern part of Cameroon, I believe they are not comfortable with the government. But the reason they are not joining the English side of Cameroon to fight is because they haven't been included from the beginning. That's my take.
no, I
From
mean,
from
that's
They haven't been included. If it was a nationwide thing, I believe everybody would have risen up against the government.
So here's the
Because I
thing.
don't think they're comfortable with
think it's because of the policy or it's because of the governance. You know, like I said, in Africa we have a problem of ethnic group. If you want to succeed in Africa, you have to include every ethnicity in the governance. Every ethnicity must have a voice.
Yeah, definitely.
Or else.
The table has to be
And
big.
that's
Everyone
what
has to
we're
be
seeing
involved.
in Ethiopia. That's what we're seeing in Uganda, Cameroon, Congo.
You
know, Paul Biya has been there for 40 years. Only one person. Do you think the rest are happy? No. In Uganda, we saw with Museveni and Bobby Wine. You know, we are seeing it in Congo. We are seeing it in Nigeria, and now Ethiopia, Sudan.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody have to be
I'm just trying to figure
included.
out if this problem is these tribes fighting against the government or these tribes fighting against the other tribes.
No, they're not
No,
fighting. They're not
against
fighting.
the
They're not
government.
fighting other tribes. They're
Just the
fighting-
government. So now, are the other tribes comfortable with this government? That's my biggest question. That's my
That's
biggest
a good
question mark.
question.
That's
But
a hard
here's
way.
the thing,
That's a hard way. How do you evaluate
Because they're
that?
very quiet
How do you
about it.
evaluate? How do you evaluate that?
So here this thing.
It's difficult to evaluate.
So
It's gonna be a survey like asking them questions directly. I
So
think that's the only way you can know
the-
from them
the
by
thing
asking them
is-
questions like, "Are you comfortable with the government?"
the tribe they are fighting the government is one of the biggest tribe in Ethiopia, one of the largest.
So-
So they
Excellent.
feel like they're the majority.
So how
but
much
they feel
percentage
left
do you
out.
think they have of the country? Like go percentage wise, how big are they?
Oh, they're big. I want to say at least 40 or 35% of Ethiopian population come from that.
I haven't checked how.
All right, let's go off his data. Let's say these people have about 40% of Ethiopia, and they're like, and they're not comfortable with it.
Look it up, but
Tigray is like 16.
Yeah, they are one of the largest tribe, if not in the whole Africa, at least in Ethiopia, and then Oromo follows. So those two tribes combine to fight the government.
Wow.
And then they feel left out.
You know, this is something that we have to go back in the field and do more research on, to see if the other sides are comfortable with this government.
Well, it looks
if they are not comfortable with this government, that answers the question to the UN, and the US that wants to intervene right now. They should know that the people are not.
AU. What is AU really? What is their purpose? What do you think?
AU, man.
What do they do? What is AU? What's their function? What's their role?
But they have no use to me.
I
haven't seen anything.
The headquarters is right there. What is their purpose? What are they doing?
I mean, I believe they haven't had a straight way of solving the conflict. Any.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, we haven't seen them solve.
Right.
Take on a conflict and really walk through and solve it. So I believe there's no pattern that they're using.
The only thing they're good at is sanctioning.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
sanction. So instead of solving the problem and bring solutions to the table, AU is there to encourage sanction.
I mean,
see what they're doing in Zimbabwe.
I mean, I believe it's because it's very complex and it's always internal things. So the very first solution is always going to be the internal one.
Right.
That's the
treat this like a house thing.
Yeah, that's the preference. That's
the only
that's
solution.
the most. That's always the.
I think that's the only solution.
I mean, that's the advisable. That's the advisable solution first. Treat it first at home. Right. If it doesn't work, the countries around it
to help solve it.
Yeah.
You know what? How they should do it? TPLF and the government should have a dialogue.
Yeah, no.
It fails, right?
No, we've accepted.
Which is most likely to fail, though. It's most likely to fail.
No, we can't say it's most likely. It's most. Why do you guys say? Why do you guys keep?
Why wouldn't we fail?
Where were they when they was crying?
I believe we need to.
At this point, you can say they are almost succeeding.
No, I believe I think we still have the PM still has a good chance here. I think we can still believe in him, and I mean the sense that.
Where was he all
I mean, this is a guy who has a Nobel Peace Prize. So I believe.
Don't even go there, man. I mean, it's just a prize.
No. It's at least a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, it's the highest recognition you can have in the world. So what I mean is, he probably still has that touch that made the Nobel Prize committee kind of pick him out and give him that prize. So he still has it. I believe he still has the ability to prove himself here as really a monger of peace and really go to these guys and do it the way we believe he can do it.
Okay, that's a good point.
Now I believe now he has to kind of defend this prize he has.
But have you heard his statement?
That's the next thing. That's the next thing I was going to go to.
Right.
So I mean he already tagging the TPLF like as terrorists. That's
the people crying. You can't call them terrorists. That's the people that need to be heard.
Enemy's life. That's a peaceful. Is that a peaceful statement?
He
said, you will bury the enemies alive.
I mean,
and that's your own people. Your own people that you supposed. Okay, listen.
Those are your people.
Now listen. If you have a conversation with a typical Ethiopian, right, about the Prime Minister Abiy, right, they will tell you that guy is a hypocrite. The reason why he won the Nobel Prize, it's because he said he's going to unify Ethiopia. He ended the war between Tigray and Eritrea.
No,
he signed the ceasefire, right? Yeah. That's the only reason he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, other than that, in Ethiopia itself, he's not doing.
No, I mean that's the same sense.
That's a very good example.
No, I mean that's the same sense.
How is that a peace?
That's the same. No, I mean that's the same sense of peace going that we
right. But then
hope he brings it.
He withdrew the national military from Tigray to the capital city, and that's why Eritrea was attacking Tigray back, and that's why they were also upset. There's a lot going on in between. It's not just this and this. No, There's a lot going on in Ethiopia, more than what we watch and see is different with the reality.
Yeah, definitely, of course,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean,
You know,
being
so
on the field, being on the field is
my problem is, you know, where was he all this? If he's a really peaceful leader like he claims to be, when we begin to hear there is a problem, a situation in the north, let's solve it peacefully as he claims. Let's sit and have a dialogue
At the
from
beginning.
the beginning.
At
Now
the-
they are
don't wait.
40 kilometers.
No, I mean,
he's afraid he's gonna lose.
I mean,
his power.
this
man
now
is-
he wants to
he's- yeah,
sit down
his
on the
problem
head of
is
the position.
power.
the make has been.
Not that we are supporting what's going on.
No,
but we are
no,
seeing what
no.
might happen.
I mean, the
my
make
problem
has
is
been spilled
people are
already.
dying. The country is not stable, and people are dying.
Right.
Whatever it is they have to do, let it be done
Innocent
fast.
civilians,
Because
you know, casualties.
we
you
are
know.
tired of losing African youths, our parents,
Right.
our children.
And those are the
we are
future
tired.
of the
We are
continent.
tired because when they keep doing this, I think they don't suffer.
Right.
They don't suffer the
No, he's
consequences.
sitting in his office.
It's the
saying,
people,
"Oh,
that's
Your
what- that goes through everything."
He's living fine, but we
No,
are the
enough,
ones living the
enough,
consequence.
enough is
you know?
enough. Yeah.
So they have to come to a solution,
And-
you know, to end this conflict.
And call the people the terrorists or whatever you want to call them. When they take over the capital city.
No,
And-
they're
and-
not-
and-
they're
and-
not
and-
gonna take that.
No, let's say when they take over the capital city.
Well,
Let's say they
they're
take over the capital
possibility.
city, right?
They're not gonna take
And we now have the UN knocking at their door. That's gonna be more people that are gonna die.
UN is the other organization.
No, I mean-
That's more people that are gonna die. You're gonna see them dropping bombs in Ethiopia.
No, I believe the reason why we're talking all of this, we're saying here, is because we want to avoid.
We want to. Yes, that's the
Right.
situation. I don't
We
really
wanna
want to.
avoid
Because we're talking about probably
don't
the
want
worst
that.
humanitarian crisis in the 21st century.
yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
if that kind of thing were to happen, imagine
11 million.
Yeah, imagine they.
No, we
they are
don't
the-
want that. We don't want that.
No, imagine they are the stage where the PMs like telling like the youths to like arm themselves, like get.
That's what I was getting at.
Get
you know,
machetes and stuff like
he
that. That's
encourages
dangerous.
the
man.
youth. Is that peaceful to you?
No, I mean,
Is that someone that want to approach the problem in a peaceful manner? No.
no, it's because of course you never know the other side. He doesn't know the other side because
Right.
he has tagged them already
But as
with.
peaceful as he claims to be, he
I mean,
would have
that's-
said, "Hey, my brothers and sisters of Tigray, let's have a."
Yeah, that's
Come
that's the
on,
sense.
right? Sit
That's
down,
the sense.
tell me
That's
why
the
it
sense.
is.
I mean, that's
What is
that's
the
what
problem?
You guys-
That's what we're appealing now. I
Right.
mean, that is that sense of.
But
of,
what
of-
you're telling your population
of
that,
consensus.
you know, arm yourselves, youth, arm yourselves. We're gonna.
He
face
said that
it."
already.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
statement.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
So-
arm yourselves. We're gonna face our enemy.
What is he
Who's the
trying to do?
enemy? These
No,
are
no,
your
no.
people.
Are you telling your people to fight your people?
And you're telling the youth.
no, they want to defend the capital. They want to defend
no,
the
that's
capital.
division right there.
No, I mean, he's the president, of course. He has to maintain the integrity of the country. But that's not where we are going to. What we are going to right now is we want to avoid that kind of situation. We don't want to be in that kind of situation where youths now, someone who is probably doing law school now, has to keep a machete in his house to defend himself. He has no skills in whatever thing. I mean, but it might be trivial now, but it's very serious. So we're appealing. I mean, it's kind of an appeal now to the PM to have that sense of consensus once more and be able to really dialogue with each and every Ethiopian. I mean, all of them make the country.
Exactly.
No one is to be prioritized
Over another. Absolutely.
Another. Yeah, that's like the baseline.
And,
That's exactly what we're saying.
What are the people asking for?
Oh, the TPLF inclusion.
Inclusion is a government, right?
No,
no,
the government
no,
and
no
the
longer.
Oromo, because
Right now,
they-
no longer inclusion. Now they want their own thing.
Actually, they wanted their own country because
No, they
they're
want
the
a country-
largest country, the largest tribes in Ethiopia. So they want that
northern
Tigray to
tribes.
be its own country.
This
So,
is a,
you know,
this is
it's
a
a
result.
very
this is
divisive-
a direct result of so much pain over time. This is exactly what is going on in Cameroon. The people cried, they cried, you ignore. At some point, they are fed up. They want their own country.
In South Africa, it's the same
It's the
thing.
same thing.
The white
They
people
cry,
want
they
their
cry,
own
they
Okay,
cry.
country.
okay, yeah. So
So
you
that's
see,
why
so you
Africa's got to unite.
See, so you see, it's. I mean,
Treat these
I love-
things from the beginning.
I usually love the
Handle them.
I usually love the Africa Unite slogan, which
Yes.
is good, but it's
I-
kind of.
Well, you think that is
It
realistic?
won't happen in our
Kind of far.
lifetime.
It's probably.
No, I don't think.
We'll give it 100 years at
But
least.
maybe. I
At
mean,
least it won't happen in our
I mean,
lifetime.
It's not gonna happen
mentality-
today.
if
We have
mentalities-
to have a hope that
If
it will.
mentalities switch, then it might happen.
Yeah. If we keep fighting.
But until then, we are in a situation where, I mean, the situation in Ethiopia is going to be like a lesson. It's a lesson. All the other countries will have internal conflicts. are equally watching. They're watching what's going on there. They're watching because anything that happens there could be like a ripple effect in other places.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So imagine a situation where the TPLF or the Tigray actually it's a whole country on itself. It kind of boasts like separatist movement in all other parts of Africa. Because giving them that, you equally have this possibility of actually pulling yourself out from a country and being your own. But now, the problem is, how do we tackle this situation in such a way that everyone is at peace? Like, in a way that we're like, okay, yeah, we can actually really manage. We can do this Cecile, we can be together.
We can live together.
Yeah. It demands a lot of sacrifice from the government. I mean, many things have to change. For instance, maybe the PM could be like, yeah, maybe it's time for someone from Tigray to be president.
Yeah, let's run a re-election or something.
We're saying inclusion, right?
Who knows?
Next election, one of the candidates will be from TPLF. Next, like they do here, Democrats and Republicans. Right?
I mean, all Ethiopia is not just the TPLF and
no, I know. So they have to include, everybody has to have a voice in the governance. Let's say you have a representative of Oromo, representative
from every tribe.
Every tribe. So that way everybody's included to avoid conflict.
Yes.
That's the problem we have in Africa.
Yes.
You know, ethnicity.
Yeah, that might be just the best way for them to handle this. Because,
That's the only
they have
way.
to open the doors for every tribe to be able to send someone to represent them.
No, I mean that's how the state kind of functions, because we have states in Ethiopia, so we probably have representatives that are in parliament. The problem is being in parliament is different from being in the government.
Right.
Okay.
You understand? So the PM is pulling them off government. So
He's the executive.
Yeah. So it's
These
different.
are just their
they're like
laws,
legislative, so
they're reporting the
Exactly.
situation on the ground, but
Exactly. But if
the
they're not
main-
holding if they're not holding strategic positions in the government, that's where the problem is. That's actually where the problem is. So bringing that's already a first step, and really being sincere in the dialogue they want to have with everyone. This inclusive dialogue, because no matter how conflicts go, they always end on the table.
Right.
Okay. So let me ask you, gentlemen, now. Okay, at this point, so Mr. JP, what is your take for this? What would you like advise the Ethiopian people to do right now?
Sit down. Ethiopian people or the government?
The government, that Ethiopian
Okay,
people,
so
that is the
sit
government and all of
down,
them.
have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Listen to each other, like, okay, what do Tigray want and what the government can do to solve the problem, right? So have a conversation and come with a conclusion. That's the only way, and then include everybody in that dialogue. That's in my opinion.
So
that's
in your opinion,
if that doesn't work,
you're
there's
calling for a dialogue.
Right? There's AU,
and then
because
the best next door neighbor should be the AU.
right.
Okay.
Right, because we are tired. You know, African youth dying, even
We are
Prime
tired.
Minister, encouraging them to arm themselves. We are tired.
That is very sad that he
we
actually
are
said
tired of
that.
all this
That is
violence.
sad.
It's not good. We are the future of the continent, and now they are sending us to war.
Yeah.
So dialogue is the only
way.
the only
So, Mr. Peter, what would
solution.
you advise them to do?
I mean, the tackling the problem from the root. We don't have. We are not on the ground like to understand exactly.
Yeah, we're not there.
To understand exactly how the problem actually began and escalated to this point. Because it probably would have started like a march, people just protesting today, protesting next week, protesting on social media.
There's no solution.
Yeah, protesting on
with that,
social media, things like that, censorship and stuff like that. So they have to begin from there. I mean, when the PM got to power, there was a lot of hope, like in Ethiopia.
In Ethiopia.
Yeah, he began.
I was even surprised.
Yeah,
when
he
all
began
this
really
thing
well.
Escalated. Like
He began.
It takes time.
2019 to
He began really-
2020.
yeah, he
Ethiopia
It takes
was
time.
peaceful,
Honestly,
yeah.
this has been going on for long. We just didn't know about it.
Yes.
Yeah, he I mean, when he got to power, he began real good. He began liberating all political prisoners, ending press censorship.
Ended the war between Tigray
ended the war.
and
I mean,
Eritrea.
I mean, as I said again, like getting the Nobel Peace Prize, it's like you've done it all. I mean, Obama has a Nobel Peace Prize, so imagine you have the same kind of peace prize that he has a Nobel Peace Prize, a Nobel Prize, pardon, and the PM has a Nobel Peace Prize. So being at that same level of recognition is a big thing. So it means he did big things to be able to get there. So we still believe he can do those big things.
Big things.
We still believe he can do those big. But the problem is he's been like this guy who's been up doing all these good things, doing all this on censorship, liberating political prisoners, to this other guy now who is like on censorship. I mean the censorship in Ethiopia now. There's no the press is really tight, mass communication, internet blockage, internet blockage and stuff like that. He's gone down to this guy. I mean, last week
that's a surprise.
We're talking about UN workers were arrested and stuff like that because they were suspected of being sympathizers of TPLF and stuff like that. I mean, we're talking about, and we start getting stuff about gross human rights violations in the north because it's not accessible, not only to the media. So it's, and we're talking about the same person here. We're talking about the same guy
that has a Nobel Peace Prize.
So
that has done all this good.
It's like an internal contradiction.
Right. So he's living a total contradiction.
Yeah. So he's shown us his good side.
And now we're seeing the worst part of him.
He's shown us probably, I don't know if it's the worst side, but he's shown us the other side.
The other side. Okay.
So now he needs to take a stand so we know exactly which side he is on.
Right.
So we will, if we're going to know this guy, I mean, this was going to determine how it goes down in history. If it goes down in history as a guy who brought peace to Ethiopia all through, or the guy who just brought some cosmetic peace for some period of time.
Also keep in mind he wasn't elected.
So
it was a transition because they assassinated his predecessor. So he was a transition. He organized election in 2020. Pandemic came. They held the election.
Yeah, I feel like they need that election now.
Yes,
more than ever. So basically,
I mean, the TPLF went on to
your advice to the Ethiopian people is to trust their prime minister. Your advice to the Ethiopian people is to trust their prime minister that he is gonna.
Yeah, I mean that's the very first. I mean he's the leader. He's like who's the president. Put it that way. I know he's the PM, but he's like the president. He's the one who sets the pace. When he sets the pace by telling the youth to arm themselves with machetes, he's setting the pace. I mean he's hitting it up. You understand?
That doesn't sound like
he's hitting it up.
Price type of person to me.
You don't understand? Yeah. So he's hitting it up. So everything he says, like we're reading everything he says, like we're reading his lips, everything that drops out from there, it's as important because that's what holds the country right now.
Absolutely.
So whatever he says, whoever is maybe writing the speech for him, I mean, should be it should be appeasement. It should be appeasement. We're talking about appeasement here. We according to the not only the sense of humanity, the sense of patriotism to the Ethiopians, more patriotic, that sense of loyalty to the country. I mean,
don't burn down their country.
Yeah, you can't burn down the country.
Don't kill your people.
And remember, we're talking about the possibility of kind of the worst humanitarian crisis in the 21st century.
It's happening.
It's going to be a bloodbath if that kind of thing were to happen, and the famine and all that is going to be horrible. So
and we already know
put it in perspective.
Ethiopia.
I mean, put it in perspective. If it requires that he steps down, probably he should. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
that could be.
Here's my own take for the Ethiopian people right here. First of all, I'll encourage a dialogue for them. Even though I feel like at this point it might be a little bit too late because these people are already like close to the capital city. But I would still encourage both parties, like even the people that are termed the terrorists. They should consider sitting down and staying together as one country. You know, don't kill your brothers, don't burn down your country. And this should be handled like a domestic matter that it is. They should try as much as possible to keep external forces out. If they must, it should be the African Union that is stepping in. If they must, it should be the African Union. Because history has taught us a lot, and we don't want history repeating itself. I have seen this happen too many times in my lifetime. We don't want that for the Ethiopian people. Yes. Anyway. Keep the West out. Simple.
And that's an African war.
With Africans. AU, step in, help if you can. But they should encourage a dialogue. That's my take.
So let me ask you this. Do you think Prime Minister Abiy made a difference in Ethiopia?
Yeah, I mean that's going to be hard.
Prime Minister, I mean,
I mean,
if he did end the wars and did all of these things, then he brought the difference somehow.
Well,
mean,
then
he
it's
did-
right
he
back
did-
to number one. He ended the war. the
He's
war
trying
is
now to
back.
cancel his legacy. That's it. This is
That's
right there.
pretty much
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That it happens just once that we see someone really go up from one
this
phase
angle.
to another one.
in a matter of a year.
So
No.
Now he came to power in 2019. Remember?
So now
2020, 2021. Here we are.
yeah. So it
Back
has.
to the same
So we need.
situation.
So
that we
now
need
we need
Ethiopia
to
for.
now we need to know
He
the
might have
bigger.
inherited. Look, this man coming to power in 2019, like you said, he might have taken on some problems that the previous leader didn't address. Because I don't think a population of a country is gonna get to this point without having years and years of hardship.
No, I've told you.
Yes.
I mean, we discussed. We kind of cleared out already.
Yeah.
Because remember, a country that is made up of conquered, I want to say conquered tribes.
Right. They,
I mean,
they
the kind
were
of
monarch,
Yes,
if you follow
yes,
the
yeah,
history.
yeah.
And
So-
then, now they are Ethiopia is just coming up.
Yeah. I mean,
The same
you
thing is when the
you could
coup
actually
happened.
you could actually break Ethiopia like this, like
Right.
like actually really fragmented like that. So it's like because of that, it's really imperative that they have a good governance. It's the same like the U.S. It's the same. It's the same thing because the U.S. is like you could really fragment, you could really break it down like and really scatter it that way. But the country is still standing because of good governance. Without, I don't want to say it's perfect governance.
There's no perfect governance.
Of course, there's not. But the zeal, the zeal to do good, and be able to really work for the general good is what is activating the country and pushing it forward. So that's the same thing we pray and for Ethiopia and really expect that the situation doesn't escalate anymore. Yep.
All right. Well, to the great people of Ethiopia, we want to encourage them to keep holding on, and we're going to be praying for them. And as much as possible, we want to encourage peace in Ethiopia. We don't want a situation in which we're going to lose so many people in Ethiopia and destroy what we have built so far. We have come a long way, and we don't want to see that burn down. So, yes, we encourage this dialogue and possibly find a way to live together in Ethiopia. We're going to keep doing our research, keep covering this case as it is going. But as the situation keep changing, unfolding, we will keep getting the information back to you guys. So thank you guys so much for always tuning in to the Africa is Home Global Podcast. And Mr. Peter, thank you guys for showing up. JP, thank you for always presenting it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, we will keep
Thank you for inviting me.
coming
So
back.
to our